Hey traders, Raghee here. I'm going to take you guys through some of the positions that we put on this morning in the chat room and what I'm going to be taking into the weekend. So starting off with the NAS, we have that 60.55 entry. Had two shots of that intraday, so we're going to stay long with that position. We've already taken 61.18 off the table, moved to the break even. If you take a look at the spreadsheet, you'll see that we have that 60.55 with a 60.45 break even. Okay, so up at that 61.18 area, we stepped out in front of the 61.20. Go ahead and move to break even, take it into the weekend. The only issue is we had that Janet Yellen hot zone at 7:30 tonight. So don't be surprised if perhaps the market gaps or responds unkindly to what's said at 7:30 Eastern. If you don't want the prospect of being exposed to that economic event and the markets being closed and that sudden impact on Sunday's open, go ahead and get flat. This has been a nice winner for us, 65 plus pip win or tick win. And we'll move on over to the ES. So two plays in the ES. We have the shorter term play that some of you took from the 13 EMA, but we are still managing that longer term 24.85 win. So we're closing in on about 85 points here on this one. Again, we're so far into this trade here where we've hit target 1, we've hit target 2. So this is where I want you guys to back off by the daily price movement range, which is going to put you in approximately a 20-point trailing stop. 20 points would take 20 away from obviously our unrealized profit, but it would not put us in a negative. So in other words, don't let a winner turn into a loser. This is how we do it. If you want to keep a slightly tighter stop, feel free to take a look at the EPMR in AutoChartist. But for now, let's just back off. This has been a nice win for us. We're, what, 3 weeks into this trade? So am I looking for that next entry? I am. I'll probably get a little bit more aggressive. We've got that pending 480-minute time frame, and as long as that 480 can contain the daily price movement range, like it did right here just 3 candles ago, we're still going to look for those swing buy opportunities. All right, take a look at that 25.42 and a quarter. 25.43 is fine. We'll take a look at that for an entry next week. All right, speaking of next week, we've got some massive earnings plays. So we'll play some shockwave earnings next week. We're still long Microsoft. We're still long Apple. I'm still long a number of these names, but I happen to still be long Baidu, Baba, and Sina. You've noticed that we've had some opportunities to take pullbacks here. Now, as an NQ trader, do you need to keep an eye on Baba and Sina and KWeb and Baidu? I think you do, because I still think there's a tug of war going on between the Chinese internet stock names and the US internet stock names. I did buy KWeb on a pullback, but it's no surprise to me that KWeb's struggling as you take a look at the NQ punching up to higher highs here. All right, so then next up is our puts in crude. We bought those puts in crude from that 52.25. We've got the 51 strikes. I talked about that midpoint target. Now, if you're trailing a stop, I'll mention it again. We talked about this yesterday. Some of you did not take this trade into today because we lost the propulsion on the 15-minute, and that's fine. But at this point here, once you hit that strike, I really want you down to less than a half of that position. Right? Or no more than half, preferably. But notice the way we bounced, and I can't emphasize enough. Don't argue with these midpoint exhaustion levels, these mid-range exhaustion levels. Okay, so in the premium video, I'll talk about the Canadian dollar and what we did with that retail sales miss on a number of pairs. And I'm still out in Oregon, so we'll get back to our normal schedule next week, and I'll see you in the next update.